is your weekly celestial forecast for the week beginning March 6th, 2023. So on Monday, we have the moon in Virgo, and Virgo is connected with the sixth house. It is about analyzation. It is about our pickiness. It's about organization, cleanliness, and all things connected with the sixth house, health, nutrition, and the sixth house even deals with animals, our pets, our work. So on Monday, our focus very much is going to be about such our sense of organization. We're really going to be focused on our work and getting things done because that is what the moon in Virgo is all about. And equally, it opposes Mercury, the communicator, in Pisces. So Pisces and Virgo are very connected in a way, even though it's 12th house for Pisces and the 6th house for Virgo, because they both deal with our health and our healing. The Mercury in Pisces connected with the 12th house is more or less connected with our emotions, our mental health, and healing. And Virgo, the sixth house, is also dealing with healing, our health, our well being. But the sixth house deals more with our physical health than our mental health. But it can on occasion, especially if we're talking our physical outlook, uh, thoughts or discussions about health and nutrition, and certainly that affects our mental, emotional, and physical health. So on Monday, this is going to be much the topic. We are ready for hard work. We want to organize. We want to be up to snuff on our health, our wellness, organization, and all things sixth house. And Neptune is in Pisces still, and the sun is in Pisces. And within just over a week, the sun will apply a conjunction with Neptune. And oh, that's ever so dreamy. Then we've got Jupiter, the planet of luck, prosperity, and that is in Aries. And Aries, what is Aries? Aries is the go-getter. Aries is the first house. So we want to take charge of everything right now. We want to take charge of our career, certainly our prosperity, money, and there may still be a little bit of good luck as Venus, the planet of love and beauty, creativity, is just past the conjunction, but still considered a bit of a wide conjunction with Jupiter. And Chiron, the healer, is there too. So this week, as last week, it's all about our positivity. We're feeling a bit zesty. And especially since we have the depositor of Aries, Jupiter, with Mars, the planet of action, at 21 degrees of Gemini. So certainly we feel that our luck and where we're feeling rather good and positive is connected with Gemini. And Gemini is all about the third house. It's about the communication, the written word, the spoken word. And with Mars, the planet of action in Gemini, this is where what we feel where we will be lucky because that's the depositor of Jupiter in Aries. So where would we feel lucky? We feel lucky and we will attract luck equally connected with communications and really putting ourselves out there with social media, communicating with everybody in our sphere, work, family, friends. We want to be on the go. We're restless. And that's all kinds of travel, long distance, local. And you will find with all these communications, we are attracting, magnetize all forms of fortune, prosperity, you name it. And what else is Jupiter connected with? It's the ninth house. So all ninth house features will be very fortunate for us, like education, travel. It will be good for speaking our mind and writing, kind of like with the third house connected with Gemini, which is very good. Also, a good time to be very philosophical, really express or really look into our principles, our belief system, because that's what else Jupiter is connected with. And therein is a connection with third house Gemini, communications plus. Yes, indeed. And look here, we've got Mars, the planet of action, up making that square off with nebulous Neptune. And what is Neptune? Neptune is about the 12th house. It is a water sign. It is about the behind the scenes, a little bit about the secrets, and it can be rather confusing. So, with that square off with Mars, this year, or I should say this year, this week, a little correction there. This week, we will have a little bit of a concern about our actions. Are we taking the right action? Are we speaking Mars and Gemini or acting correctly with whatever may be important to us this week? So we're going to be not so sure-footed as we could be for pretty much most of the week and starting off on Monday. It's a little bit deceptive with that Mars squaring off with Neptune. So, really, this week, think before you act. Plan before you take any major decisions and be cautious of the written word or the spoken word, because not always does this square off between Mars and Neptune act immediately. Sometimes events happen down the line in the future with a square off, and especially connected with nebulous Neptune in Pisces. So just think before you act or speak this week. But hey, it makes us really think about our movements and our actions, what we want to do, and that's not so bad at the end of the day. So we're going to look ahead to the next day, which is Tuesday, and that is March the 7th. Yes, and now we've got, oh my goodness, we've got Saturn now at 0 degrees of Pisces on Tuesday. So there may be on Monday, Tuesday, between Saturn on Monday at 29 degrees of Aquarius and 0 degrees Pisces. Now going into the sign of Pisces on Tuesday, some events that may shake us up a little bit, because both 29 degrees Saturn in Aquarius and 0 degrees Pisces are both critical degrees in astrology. And Aquarius is an air sign connected with communications, kind of like its fellow air sign of Gemini. And we've got Saturn now at 0 degrees Pisces, kind of an Aquarius Pisces feel between both, between air and water. And with Saturn, that's about shaking up the collective. It's shaking up events. It's the unexpected. It's the unpredictable. And Saturn is about now compassion, and it's about humanity, kind of like Aquarius. So Monday and Tuesday certainly could be marked with the collective, humanity, uh, a need for compassion in some area that may be important to us. And also, what is Saturn in Pisces now? Now Pisces is with the 12th house. Yes, indeed. It is about secrets. It's about behind the scenes. And also the 12th house is connected with what? It's connected with our fears and the behind the scenes of what we have to investigate. And yes, it's about healing, as aforementioned. And do refer to my Saturn in Pisces video for more information. But now there is a bit of a really wide conjunction with Mercury on Tuesday, although the standard conjunction is 7 degrees. Mercury is at 8 degrees. So now with Saturn now just getting into the sign of Pisces and somewhat of a connection with Mercury and Pisces, that's really good because that kind of gives us that tender heart, that sense of dreaminess and creativity. It's very inspirational. This is a great time, especially with Mercury there and the depositor with Mars in Gemini. It's a great time to attract luck because Mars is the depositor of Jupiter and the depositor of Mars directly. Mercury, it's a good time to attract luck of what? That connects with medicine, healing, holistic, alternative, even that deals with, well, yes, astrology, but the metaphysical, paranormal, even that which is spiritual or somewhat dealing with the behind the scenes healing and investigation. So these are all going to be highlighted now. But with Saturn and Pisces, it's a great time to kind of do a sit down soul searching with what we fear and bringing some of our concerns and our fears to light during this duration of Saturn in Pisces. And look here, we have Pluto barely hanging on to Capricorn, and still it is making a making a semi-sextile to Saturn in Pisces because Pluto is headlonging into Capricorn. Yes, indeed. So with this semi-sextile, that's kind of positive. It's not a full sextile, but it gives us this sense that we are productive. It gives us a sense of positivity. And anytime you've got Pluto, the controller, the powerhouse, it's about getting things done. But it's at the 29th degrees, kind of like now 0 critical of Saturn in Pisces. So before Pluto goes to 0 degrees Aquarius, and even once Pluto gets into 0 degrees of Aquarius, This is critical, 29 and 0. And Pluto has remained in Capricorn since 2008 for quite some time. So you can guarantee with Pluto, because it is such a slow moving planet, that there are going to be some very transformative events during this time in March, and especially this week. And that would deal with our fellow man, our principles, our ethics, anything to do with, yes, there's that word again, our humanity, technology. There could be some technological advancements this week connected with our future, space, AI, also anything that deals with the future and Aquarius. And because Pluto is still in Capricorn, yes, serious minded, responsible, that which rules structure, government, and the powers that be. This week and next week, all of March will be especially very highlighted and prominent, as with Saturn in the sign of Pisces. It's going to be, or there is going to be, some kind of or many topics that will really affect us with Aquarius, Capricorn, and now Pisces. Something where we really need to put our sense of compassion out there for our fellow man. Yes, and something that will really get us going. That is what? Unexpected, unpredictable, connected with the powers that be. But the trick here is what? Now we have to learn from Saturn in Pisces, because it is the last Saturn with Pisces, or I should say, Pisces is the final sign with Saturn. So there's going to be some discussion of that, which may not only affect our future, but it will affect our karma. Yes, so we will have to take care of our actions. This is a very important month indeed, March of 2023. And now we've got the moon at 18 degrees of Virgo, and on Tuesday, it is applying a square off with nebulous Neptune in Pisces. And what is that about? Now we have, we have the opposition. We're getting it right today. We have the opposition and the full moon on Tuesday morning with Virgo. So the full moon is only going to highlight that which deals with the sixth house, our health, our well-being, how we pick apart and disseminate information. It's about research. So what is this full moon? The natural opposition between Neptune and Virgo, especially sixth house by the 12th house. It's about, yes, there's that word again. It is about secrets. So also the full moon sometimes reacts generally right before, so in this case the 6th of March, or right after, maybe not directly the day after, but generally there's a culmination of events that can take place, especially now between the full moon and the next new moon, which will be in Aries. And this is extremely important now, because that begins at 0 degrees Aries, the new astrological year. And because of it, Aries is officially 0 degrees critical. So with this this full moon in Virgo, we will have concerns about, yes, sixth house. That's health, well-being. We have to research. And what are we researching? We are researching some kind of information that we feel is being kept from us. We have to figure out, are we being told the truth? What is it that we have to analyze? We have to pick apart what information that we have to discover. Is it good for us? Virgo, and to some degrees, Pisces, will we heal from this information once it is brought out? What will we discover? What information we have to disseminate, analyze to get to the bottom of things. And that, between now and the next new moon in Aries, once the information is brought out, then is going to be very pivotal. And then you add to that 29 degrees of Pluto and Capricorn with 29 degrees, and then, of course, Aquarius, and now, of course, Saturn at 0 degrees Pisces. So there is going to be, possibly this week, certainly this month, information that could be extremely transformative. We really are going to be knowledgeable of some kind of knowledge that has been kept from us and now is just going to be like opening a can of worms. We now have found some information that will certainly be exposed. So mark this week, but especially this month, on your calendar for highlights of changes to come. Yes, indeed. And now we will look ahead finally to Wednesday, March the 8th. Now, the moon is early on in Libra and making an out of sign trine with Pluto. Oh, that's good, because there's still a little bit of intensity left over from Tuesday's full moon. But with Pluto, the power planet, making a sweet trine with early moon in Libra, oh, that's very positive. That kind of gives us a little bit of levity here with control, or feeling that we're feeling rather passionate or intense, especially since the moon in Libra is about beauty and it's an air sign. It's a very people connection with Libra. And although Pluto is still in Capricorn, it's nearly um, at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Kind of an air sign feel here with 29 degrees of Pluto in Aquarius. So that gives us a little less intensity about how we are feeling, about how we are expressing ourselves, our sense of self, our sense of power. So this is very good. It's also very good for connections or communications with those that are in positions of power. So this is the time, folks, this week, if you're looking to have serious discussions with those that are VIPs and so on, especially, I should say, Wednesday, this is the time to have those discussions. Yes, okay, and Jupiter's still in Aries with Chiron. That's very good this week with our sense of positivity, our good energy, well expressed, getting things done, focusing on the future, and Venus still in Aries. Such a good week for our energy and our sense of zest and communications plus, with especially with Mars in Gemini. And Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, is in Taurus, and it's at 15 degrees and sextiling the sun. That's water and earth, and that's in Pisces. So that's very productive. And Uranus is a very kind of a creative, expressive, kind of daring, rebellious placement. But with the sextile to the sun is about our confidence, how we feel about ourselves, our sense of expression, our self esteem. And with the sextile to the sun on Wednesday, that really gives us a boost, kind of a real sense, especially with this Jupiter Venus Chiron connection, kind of a boost to our well being. We're feeling rather healthy mentally and or physically, and that gives us a great deal of abundance of energy. But more than that, Uranus is about our expression, so we want to feel in a kind of a tempered style, very rebellious. We want to show how different or unique we are, whether it's what we say, it's what we do. So, this is a very positive connection with the sun with Uranus as well on Wednesday. So, let's zip ahead to the next day, which is Thursday, March the 9th. Now we have Mars in Gemini with the applying exact square off. Which will it be in 2 days with Neptune in Pisces? And kind of aforementioned a couple days ago, we have this sense that we have to be very cautious in all our dealings. And if we are not, this could kind of create some conflicts or some confusion. And that does affect our communications because the depositor of Mars is Mercury. So as we get closer to the exact conjunction of Neptune at 24 degrees with 22 degrees Mars in Gemini, we have to also watch what we say. The trick here is to really think before we act, think before we speak, so to speak. And now the moon is at 13 degrees Libra, and within about a day and a half, we will then apply a square off with Pluto in barely hanging in there at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Yes, indeed. But let's not forget there is a opposition now between lucky Jupiter and the moon in Libra. So on one hand, it's the opposition. So the opposition is what? That of what we oppose, which is differentiating from what we believe. And Libra is about beauty. It's the seventh house, very people oriented, and it's about business and dealings with the public, beauty, and so on. And Jupiter in Aries, Jupiter is about how we attract our luck. It's about the ninth house. And so right now on Thursday, some of these areas will be prominent. Education. There's going to be a lot of expressing about what we believe, what we don't, a lot of communications with the public. Very busy, busy day on Thursday. But on the other hand, we have to find what? That balance between the first house of Aries and the seventh house of Libra. So, on one hand, there could be disagreements or conflicts, differences or opposing opinions connected with how we treat people or versus being more of a people person versus being a me first person. So on Thursday, this is the time where you want to find that balance. You don't want to be too self oriented, or you don't want to go overly into uh, thought about what other people think or other people feel. It's about, or getting lost with the collective. It's about finding that balance between the first house and the seventh house. It's about what? Take a hint from Libra. It's about cooperation on Thursday. So that's going to be a theme, whether it's friends, whether it's work, what have you. It's about our cooperation with other people and finding the balance between Aries and Libra. But if we can do that, the opposition here is extremely cooperative with other people. It's going to be about what? What else is the seventh house? It's going to be about partnerships. And certainly with Jupiter and Aries, that's a very creative connection, very innovative because we're dealing with Jupiter. So this is the day to look into formulating partnerships. Yes, indeed. So let's look ahead to the next day, which is officially the weekend. And now the moon is late Libra and will advance to Scorpio later on Friday. So we've got this Libra, air, water, Scorpio connection going on Friday. However, the moon is applying a trine to Saturn in Pisces. Oh, that's very sweet. Yes, indeed. And also, well, it's not quite a grand trine here because Mars is still at 23 degrees of Gemini, but it does lend for some good connections, good action, good productivity on Friday. Yes. And we've still got Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune in Pisces. And now, by a very wide conjunction between Sun and Mercury at about 6 degrees, that's very good, kind of as I mentioned prior, with confidence, with Uranus and the Sun. But now we're going to filter in here Mercury and the Sun in Pisces. So Mercury is about communication. The Sun is about our confidence. It's about our expression. So Friday, to start off their weekend, is very much about ideas and how we feel about issues at hand. So there's a lot of communication that is opening up now between how we feel and how we think, and really expressing our sense of charity, our sense of, well, sensitivity. It's a very sensitive connection, especially because Neptune in its own is the depositor. So this is a week for our sensitivity, for really connecting with other people and expressing our love to each other. Yes, our compassion. It's a very watery, emotional, then mental connection, especially once the moon goes into the sign of Scorpio. So let's look ahead now to Saturday, March the 11th. And now the moon is at 9 degrees with the south node at 4 degrees of Scorpio. And the south node is pivotal because It's about the nodes, the south node and the north node. It's about what? It's about our sensitivities. And especially when you have the moon in Scorpio with the south node, which is possibly a little bit more sensitive than the north node in Scorpio. So on Saturday, there's going to be something that really moves us emotionally. It's a great time for downtime because it's water time. It's a water sign. So it's a time for meditation, kind of just taking it easy, but it can be very emotional, especially since we have a sweet trine with the South Node now and Saturn in Pisces. We're feeling a little bit responsible either for ourselves or for somebody else over the weekend on Saturday. Maybe we have to take care of someone. Maybe we need to take care of ourselves and our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health. And so this will be a really positive time on Saturday with the moon, with the south node, and here with Saturn now in Pisces to really do some serious thinking about our health, diet, well being, emotions, and so on and so forth. And not to stress and strain over these issues of health, well being, and so on and so on, because we have Saturn in Pisces. And of course, Saturn is connected with our responsibility and structure, and it can be connected with restriction, but it makes a good trine to the South Node and the moon just passed the South Node in Scorpio. But we cannot ignore here we have an applying opposition to Uranus. So things are gonna start getting a little bit tense here with all the sweet emotional connections on Saturday. But emotions are the keyword because of all this water sign influence with Scorpio, South Node, and the moon, and this Pisces, Mercury, Sun, Neptune, and now Saturn meet up in Pisces. So we are just feeling very moved by our feelings and our sensitivities, but especially for Saturday and now looking ahead to the final day of the week on Sunday. Yes, and now we have the moon just past the opposition with Uranus. So anytime we have the moon or planets in a square off with Uranus, it is expect the unexpected. And that can include the start of the weekend right before we approach the moon in Scorpio, but certainly by Saturday and Sunday, especially when you have the opposition with Uranus. And Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus is connected with what? Our Earth. So there could be some outlooks, or there could be a concern with weather related changes, earthquakes, earth changes in particular over this weekend. But especially with this very strong stellium meetup with Pisces. And Pisces is connected with water. It is connected with our liquid. It is connected with minerals. So this week, although there's this sweet trine with the moon in Scorpio and now Mercury and the sun, even now with Neptune, equally because there is so much of an abundance with water. This can be a concern also with the atmosphere, liquid, minerals, water, our waterways, and so on. But with the trine, this may be also very positive, and especially since the full moon in Virgo on Tuesday, it will highlight our need for cleanliness, organization, healing, and so on and so forth. And certainly with this water connection, yes, it can be an overabundance, or what? It can be a underabundance of water. So this week will be discussions about how to uh, clean up, how to heal our water, the atmosphere, because we're talking moisture here. And this is going to be the focus this week of discussion with all this Pisces connection, and now especially over the weekend with the moon in Scorpio. But as aforementioned, do expect the unexpected and apply our sensitivities. Now, we also have Venus, the planet of love, squaring off Neptune, the sun, and by a wide square, Mercury. So, what is Venus? Venus is, yes, it's about our love. It's connected with the seventh house, and now it's in its detriment sign of Venus. So, with this, with the semi square here. We're going to get these terms right today. With the semi-square between Venus in Aries and now the Pisces connection. Now that's a little bit more tense because we're talking fire by water. So although there's a lot of talk about cleanup or a lot with connections with the atmosphere and changes and water and waterways and so on, we do have this fiery connection with Venus in Aries. And although it is not, let me correct that, a square off with Pisces, it is a semi-square. So there's still some concerns about the uncertain, our future connected with water or waterways, liquid, minerals, the atmosphere. And with the fire, there may be connections with heat or the evaporation of water contained within this semi-square with Aries now and Neptune, Sun, and Mercury. So there also could be concerns of the lack of water. So, all in all, this week will be a very positive week for our luck, our future, yet again. It's about applying our enthusiasm to all initiatives and projects. And our luck, because of the depositor of Jupiter with Mars and Gemini, will be with communications, the written word, the spoken word, social media. Yes, we've got transformative changes with Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So the powers that be during this week and transformation will be very important. And because Saturn now is in the sign of Pisces, it's about examining our fears and our secrets. And that will be the veil that covers our thoughts for this week. What do we have to find out? And by the new moon in Aries, all will come out. But in the meantime, this is a great week for taking care of ourselves because of the full moon on Tuesday. And at the end of the day, it is about, like the prior week, it's about healing not just others and being sensitive to others, applying compassion, but it's about sensitivity, healing, and compassion this week for ourselves.